Squids are the largest invertebrates in the world. There are hundreds of millions of them in the ocean, and yet we almost never see them. But why? What evolutionary tools do they have that make them so successful? And how have they managed to avoid us for thousands of years? These are the enigmatic giant squids. Hi, I'm Danielle Dufault, and you're watching Animalogic. The kraken, the sea monk, the great sea serpent, and the great calamari are some of the names given to these enormous ocean creatures. We've been talking about these creatures for as long as sailors have been exploring the oceans, and yet for the vast majority of human existence, nobody had ever seen one alive. Because we didn't know any better, we assumed them to be monsters, and gave them fantastical names like the Scylla in Greek mythology, the Lusca of the Caribbean, and of course, the Kraken of Norse mythology. Before modern times, all we had was mariners' tales and dead specimens found in the stomachs of whales or washed ashore on the beach. Most of the giant decapods found in Europe were likely Architeuthis dux, which is simply known as the giant squid. But there are two other enormous species that we should mention whenever we talk about the largest invertebrates in the world: the colossal squid and the bigfin squid. But let's focus on the one that's fascinated seamen and beachgoers all over the world for millennia: the giant squid. Giant squids are absolutely massive. If you include the length of their tentacles, they can be up to 12 meters long and weigh over 250 kilograms. Their eyes, along with those of the colossal squid, are the largest in the animal kingdom at just under 30 centimeters in diameter. For context, a swordfish, which weighs the same as the giant squid and lives in similar habitats, has eyes about 10 centimeters wide in diameter, and human eyes are 2.4 centimeters wide on average. That is just way too much squid. A large female can be twice as long as a great white shark, and likely larger than a megalodon ever got. They're also full-time carnivores, so there's no need to look for monsters in mythology books. Giants still roam the earth and the sea, and they roam a huge part of the world, having been found in temperate waters from Russia to Tasmania. They seem to not love the tropical seas, but they have been spotted in vacation hotspots like Florida and Hawaii. Wherever they go, they're always looking for their next meal. Giant squid catch their meals with two enormous tentacles, which can be up to 7 meters long, easily big enough to wrap them around ancient medieval fishing boats, which is where the legends probably come from. The tentacles are lined with dozens of hard, serrated suction cups controlled by muscles beneath them. These suckers dig into the prey's flesh and apply suction forces of up to 100 pounds per square inch. So in theory, they only need a couple of suckers to lift you. That's more than enough force to secure and hold their prey in place, while the squid rips it apart with its giant parrot-like beak. Their beak is bigger than your fist, and is only the first step of their meat processing operation. Inside their mouth, they have rasps that work as flesh graters. Once a living being goes in there, the V-shaped stream of light across the closing beak is the last thing it sees. These hunting tools also work as their only self-defense against their main predators, whales. But how do noodly appendages and an oversized parrot beak translate to battle with some of the largest animals to ever live? Well, not great. Even more than the beaches where they sometimes wash ashore, the stomach of a sperm whale is the most likely place you'll ever find a giant squid. These whales often have scars from the giant squid suckers. Their skin bears the marks of countless battles with these massive cephalopods. But size is usually the deciding factor, and whales are the ocean's heavyweight champions. Sperm whales are so well adapted to eating giant squids that their intestines produce a wax called ambergris to wrap squid beaks and protect their organs as these biological shears go through their digestive system. These waxy substances have a pungent, salty smell. They smell like they came out of a whale's butt. And yet, they're used in the perfume industry, and large blocks of it can go for over $1 million. And of course, because of this, there are professional ambergris hunters, in case you're thinking of a career change. So many giant squids are found inside sperm whale bellies. Scientists estimate that these marine mammals eat up to 100 million of them a year. These remains have provided scientists with most of the information we know about giant squids. The rest come from the beached squids, but these animals rot very quickly, and by the time they land on a beach, they've likely already been dead for a few days. So weirdly, the partially digested remains inside whales' stomachs are often more complete. There's also the live squids that people have been reporting for centuries. Giant squids maintain buoyancy through ammonium chloride in their system, and when they die, they float up to the surface, unlike most cephalopods. And this chemical also makes them taste like salty licorice, which is pretty gnarly. Sometimes, giant squids float up before they die, usually when they're very old, sick, or injured. And often, in this disoriented state, is when they reach their tentacles into boats. It's a very small window before it dies and rots, but it tracks with how giant squids live their life. They reach sexual maturity at just about 3 years of age, and have a life expectancy of just 5 years. That's it! They get that big in just 5 years. For comparison's sake, great white sharks become sexually mature at 20 years of age and live as long as an average human being. On top of that, females have been found with over 1 million eggs yet to be released. So they reproduce young and at a massive scale. This short generation length helps them adapt quickly to environmental changes and replenish populations year after year. And yet, despite their huge numbers, we almost never see them. This started changing at the start of the century. In 2002, the first picture of a confirmed live giant squid was taken in Japan. The cephalopod had gotten stranded on a shallow bay. The locals tried to secure it, but it died the next day. 2 years later, a baited camera caught a glimpse of a giant squid using its tentacles to grasp the bait ball. Since then, improvements in camera technology and an increased accessibility to submarines has led to videos like these. This was taken by NOAA in 2019. From a wall of darkness, you see a bouquet of arms approaching the camera. The squid examines it with its tentacles, and after realizing there's not much food to be had, it disappears into the bottom of the ocean. Videos keep popping up every once in a while, showing us the power and majesty of giant squids. But, mighty as they are, they only play second fiddle to the colossal squid. Colossal squids can be up to 700 kilograms, over twice as big as a giant squid. Even though their tentacles aren't as long as the giant squids, their eyes are slightly larger. In theory, they should be as famous as their cousins, but 2 reasons work against their popularity. They only live around Antarctica, and they seem to live at even deeper levels than the giant squid. Lastly, we have the big fin squid. In a family of alien-looking creatures, these are the weirdos of the bunch, and I know that's saying a lot. They're slightly smaller than the other 2 leviathans we mentioned earlier, but still get to lengths of up to 8 meters. They're so ghostly and ethereal that they only weigh 2 kilograms. Their arms seem to bend at elbows into noodle-like appendages that drift behind the animal. They've only been seen a couple of times, but one of them gave us one of the greatest squid observations of all time. In 2019, NOAA filmed one alive. It was about 3.5 meters long, and it was 750 meters deep. You can see its long arms, see-through mantle, and giant eyes. And despite its size, it looked so fragile and tender.
Oh gosh. Oh, look how cool.
No, it's just so...
It's a big fin squid, maybe?
It's ghostly.
Magnapina?
Magnapina?
Oh man, look at him.
And there you have it, the fantastic world of giant squids. And the coolest thing is that we keep learning more and more about them. Next time we make a video about these gigantic creatures, there will be a whole new batch of discoveries about them. So what should we talk about next? Please let me know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every week. And if you want to learn more about the strange creatures of the ocean, check out our episode about the Portuguese manowar. Thanks for watching. See you later.